Hi, I'm Angela Johnson, founder and senior wealth advisor at Worthen Financial Advisors. Since 2005, I've been working with clients to help them prepare for retirement. One key issue that we focus on is when to claim Social Security benefits, in part because better decision making can mean more retirement security. Unfortunately, the importance of maximizing Social Security benefits has not gotten through to all Americans. Maximum benefits are payable at age 70, but very few actually claim at this age. So I developed this presentation to teach everyone what we teach our clients. That is that there's tremendous value in maximizing benefits. Okay, let's get started. Where do we begin? We start with a bigger question. What do you need in order to have a financially secure retirement? If you think about it, we all know the answer. First, you need sources of income that replace your paycheck, and that income needs to last as long as you do, meaning as long as your retirement lasts. You also need to be prepared for the uncertainties, which we often call retirement risks, like the uncertainty of investment returns, how long retirement will last, whether retirement will bring high inflation, and others. So let's see how the timing of when we claim Social Security benefits can affect those issues. Here is an example. Let's get right to it. This is Jerry. He's single and he was born in 1964, which makes him 60 years old in 2024. That's not a bad age to be thinking about when to claim Social Security, as it gives him some time to plan for whatever decision he makes. So what are Jerry's options? If he wants the maximum benefit provided by Social Security, he will claim at age 70. Social Security does not increase benefits beyond that age, so deferring beyond 70 just means giving up benefits. He can also claim as early as age 62, but that results in receiving the smallest benefit. Benefit statements will show how much you receive at these ages, 62 and 70, as well as showing benefits at what is called the full retirement age. Since Jerry was born in 1964, his full retirement age is 67. Everyone born in 1960 and later have 67 as their full retirement age. Full retirement age is meaningful only in that Social Security provides what they call full benefits at that age. They apply a reduction factor when benefits are claimed earlier, and they increase benefits when they're claimed later. I know that can be confusing, so let's start at the top, looking first at the maximum benefit available at age 70, and then we'll work our way backwards. You will see that there's a 7 to 8% decrease for each year that benefits are claimed before age 70. The difference between benefits at 62 and 70 in this case is 77%. That's true for everyone with a 67 full retirement age. Now, I don't want to get too far into the details here, but I do want to point out that claiming options may not be quite as simple as I just described. For those who continue to work past age 62, it may not make sense for them to apply until either they retire or they hit their full retirement age because of what's called the earnings test. After full retirement age, an individual can claim even if they're still working. In this case study, I calculated Jerry's benefits using Social Security's quick calculator, assuming he's currently earning $80,000 a year. Let's start by looking at the impact of his claiming age on his retirement plan. Assuming that $80,000 is his entire income, you start to think about how much income he'll need in retirement. It's probably a bit less than that because he no longer has to save for retirement. Some taxes are a bit lower, and some work-related expenses will go away. It would be better to know his actual expenses, but let's estimate that he needs 80 to 90% of his work income to live in the same manner in retirement. If he needs 80 to 90% of his $80,000 of income, then the question becomes, what does Social Security replace? If he chooses the maximum benefit at age 70, it replaces 40% of his income. If he claims at age 67, Social Security replaces 32% of his income. And if he claims at age 62, it's only replacing 23% of his income. Now that 40% is by no means everything that he needs, and clearly he'll need other resources to keep the same lifestyle. But 40% probably covers his major and most important bills. The lower percentages probably do not. And remember, Social Security increases with inflation, so the income should pretty much keep up with those bills over time. Let's look at the annual bills. That should provide a clear picture of what bills he can cover with the Social Security benefits at different claiming ages. The benefit at age 70 is $32,376, while claiming at 62 means $18,276. And finally, let's look at the monthly benefit amounts. I think these numbers are the least useful, but this is the way Social Security communicates the benefits to us. As I mentioned, all three of these monthly benefits are for ages 62, 67, and 70 are on the Social Security statement. And also, if you don't have yours yet, just sign up at the Social Security website and you will have instant and permanent access to your own numbers. So I'd strongly encourage you to fill out a table like this to help you better understand the implications of different claiming ages. To create this table, just fill in the 3 monthly benefit numbers from your Social Security statement, then multiply by 12 to get the annual figures. If all of your income is represented by your Social Security wages, like it was in Jerry's case, just divide the annual benefits by your most recent wages. If you have other regular income, you can add that to your wage income to get a better idea. Here's a pretty simple decision framework to help you decide when to claim benefits. Think of the choices as claiming early and claiming late. And then think of your retirement as it may be short or it may be long. So what are the possible outcomes? If you claim early and you have a short retirement, things worked out. Since you had Social Security benefits, you used fewer of your other resources to live on, you had a secure retirement and maybe left something to your family. But what if you claim early and you have a long retirement? This is a problem. With smaller Social Security benefits, if other resources run out or can't generate as much income over time, you're at risk of a permanently reduced lifestyle. So what does that look like? That means at a later age, you may have to live on less, or even worse, become dependent on others. This is something you should be worried about. But it seems that people are more concerned about claiming late and having a short retirement. Totally get it. The reality here is this actually works out too. Maybe you end up leaving a little less to the family, but if retirement is short, you remain financially secure and there should still be plenty left. If you claim late and you have a long retirement, now you're in a much better position and you have a permanently increased lifestyle. Think about that. Claiming early can result in a lot of harm, while claiming late results in minimal harm with a short retirement, but has a huge payoff with a long retirement. What we're really talking about here is that deferring Social Security is like buying more insurance or risk protection. The cost of these benefits given up in the early years in exchange for the higher stream of income, inflation-protected income. What protections does this buy? Let's talk about that. First, what we've been talking about is called longevity risk, which is living longer than expected, and it's one of the key stressors on financial security in retirement. It's also a problem that's hard to imagine later in retirement because you can't go back to work and generate additional income. So giving up Social Security income at a younger age when you have options like controlling your spending or continuing full or part-time work is a better trade-off. This longevity risk also exacerbates other risks faced in retirement. The retiree who lives longer is likely to have more long-term care costs, which is also mitigated by having higher lifetime income from Social Security. More income can also mean less reliance on other resources, and there may be more assets available to pay long-term care expenses as well. Longevity risk also exacerbates inflation risk, and deferring Social Security means a higher percentage of total income that has inflation protection. There's also nothing simpler in retirement than income sources that involve a direct deposit of a monthly check to your bank account. These sources simplify decision-making later in retirement when frailty may make this more problematic. Simply purchasing more income means trading uncertainty for certainty. So we call that risk of generating income from an investment portfolio excess withdrawal risk. So what does that look like? When you generate income from a portfolio, first we choose the right asset allocation that's required for your goals and risk tolerance. You need strategies to minimize portfolio volatility while you're taking withdrawals, and you need to consider whether you should make changes to your asset allocation over time. Since you're self-insuring when you're generating income from a portfolio, you often have to be very conservative on how much you withdraw each year. This usually means taking out around 4% per year. And it's really important that you have the discipline to stick to the plan, not freak out when the market's down, and don't give in to the desire to spend more than you should. Think of this in contrast to the simplicity of a reliable check deposit into your checking account, going up each year for inflation and lasting as long as you do. In addition, couples also have to plan for sufficient income after one spouse dies. Planning for longevity needs consider both spouses. Claiming strategies impact how a surviving spouse receives benefits. For a married couple, when the first spouse dies, the smaller benefit stops, but the larger one continues. This means that deferring the larger of the two benefits is the best way to maximize the surviving spouse's guaranteed income from Social Security. As we can see in this case study, if Andrea claims at age 70 and her annual income is from Social Security is $32,376, that benefit continues as long as either of them is alive, regardless of when John claimed his benefit. His benefit stops at the first death, so the best way to maximize the survivor benefit is to defer the larger benefit to age 70. We've been focused on Social Security protection, but people also want to know how good a deal it is if they defer benefits. We all want to get our money's worth. So here we see a chart built by Dr. Wade Pfau, one of the leading retirement income researchers and professors. I know it looks complicated, but let's just focus on a few numbers. So in this chart, he shows the real inflation-adjusted rate of return you get by deferring benefits. The case here is an individual with a primary insurance amount of $30,000 at age 67 who would receive $21,000 of claiming at age 62 and $37,200 of benefits if deferred to age 70. Those numbers are highlighted. If we're looking at this as an investment, the 8 years of giving up $21,000 is the investment in exchange for the return of the higher $37,200 payout, which is essentially an annuity payment. With annuity payments, the rate of return depends on how long you live and how many payouts you receive. So you only truly know the rate of return with certainty after death. But let's keep one thing in mind as we review this next slide. If you're married and both spouses make it to age 65, there's a 50-50 chance at least one will be alive at age 92. What you can see here is that if the individual lives beyond age 81, the result is a real rate of return of more than 2%. I've highlighted the age at death and the rate of return on the investment if you live that long. As you can see, the rate of return increases the longer you live. Live to 100 and the return on deferring benefits by 8 years is 6.6 real or inflation adjusted rate of return. So let's compare this to other investments. The most comparable investment is Treasury Inflation Protected Security, called TIPS. and they're paying about a 2% real rate of return after inflation right now in early 2024 because inflation rates are high. As rates come back down to normal, that real rate of return will go down as well and will yield a 0% to even a negative return in a low interest rate environment. When people think of stock returns, they often think of nominal returns. It's not real inflation-adjusted returns. The long-term average compound real rate of return for large cap stocks is 6.9%. So we usually think of it as 10%, but that's not taking out being adjusted for inflation. And the long-term compound average return for intermediate government stocks is 2.1%. So these returns are good for an income floor because Social Security is safe and includes cost of living adjustments. Here's one more way to look at the claiming decision that I heard from Michael Kitces, a leading researcher and practitioner in the field. He looks at Social Security as an investment hedge. A hedge is a counterbalancing investment to offset the risk of another investment. We can look at Social Security as a hedge against a retirement portfolio of stocks and bonds. A retirement portfolio will be stressed if there is a long retirement with extended periods of high inflation and low returns. It would be hard to generate sufficient income from the portfolio to meet retirement needs in that environment. Social Security, though, does just fine in those conditions because benefits continue without interruption, they increase with inflation, and as we just looked at, the returns get better and better the longer you live. Maybe you're convinced that there can be some value in deferring, but you're wondering how you can afford to do so. So I have two things to say to you. First, any deferral helps. If you were desperate to retire at 65 and you can keep working for another year or even 6 months, that's great. Then maybe you could use other financial resources to cover another 6 months or year of deferral. That's even better. Any deferral will put you in a better position. Second, you can use a combination of strategies to get where you want to go. Maybe you work full-time a little longer. Maybe you do some part-time work for a couple more years and tap into your portfolio for the shortfall until age 70. In a few cases, Social Security claiming strategies can be used to help as well, and couples have some flexibility here that single retirees don't have. Don't be afraid to think about reducing expenses during this period either. So it may be worth it to do a little belt tightening if it's going to provide more long-term security. With married couples, there's a clear priority of which benefit to defer. It's the larger of the two benefits, because this is the one that will continue for the joint life expectancy and provides the most insurance value. If a couple's trying to figure out how to do this, it may be necessary to claim the smaller benefit to support deferral of the other, larger benefit. So let's say in our case study, Andrea and John, who are the same age, decide to retire at age 67. If John claims his benefit then, he gets $18,828 a year instead of the $23,352 if he claimed at 70. But doing so may be just the boost that they need to be able to swing deferring Andrea's benefit to age 70. This decision gives them slightly less while they're both alive, but after the first death, the survivor gets the same benefit as if they had both deferred. And that's the $32,376. So the bottom line is that the way people figure out how to support deferral is quite a personal decision. And it's based on a lot of factors, including knowing all of your Social Security claiming options, considering the role of continued work, and evaluating your personal financial resources. But this is an important part of the personal planning required that needs to take place after you've let this discussion that we're having now sink in. I do want to tackle one final nagging question that you still might have. How important is this decision to my financials? Some people are highly dependent on Social Security benefits. Social Security can provides 90% or more of income to 45% of single retirees. If most of your income comes from Social Security, then when to claim benefits is about the most important retirement decision that you'll make. If you're like many people, you have Social Security and some other resources, and you're trying to make ends meet. If you're in this position, making smart decisions about when to claim benefits and when to retire can improve your financial security. In other words, good planning is critical to your success. Even if Social Security is just a small portion of your total resources, you want to get a good deal. As we discussed, it's a good hedge against a long life. Also, having a bigger income floor can mean more retirement security, which can provide a greater comfort level with spending more and giving away assets to your favorite charities. I hope that you've learned 3 things from this discussion. 1, that you're more firmly convinced that you have to look at ways to defer Social Security. 2, that you will sign up at the Social Security website to get your personal benefit statement if you haven't done so already, and that you're committed to learn more about Social Security benefits. And 3, you'll inventory available retirement resources and begin to consider what a financially secure retirement might look like for you. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for your attention.